Here I am back again. It's been a while since you and I met, but we are going to have a chat and a rather good one at that with our next guest, and that is Siya Sawant. Now, here's a girl who hails from Bombay. She ranks amongst the most promising track and field athletes of the country, 100 meter and 200 meter. The 19-year-old currently ranks number one for 100 meters and number two for 200 meters as per the Khelo India ranking. She currently holds three national records to her name and has been the junior national champion for 5 years in a row. Can you imagine that journey? She spills the beans on all of that only in this episode of Karishma Connect, but she tells me more about multitasking, about how she navigates all of this with her studies. What does prep look like? What goes on in the minds of an athlete at the starting line and the finish line, and how does that change everything in between? How does she feel about holding all these records, and how it humbles her and makes her want to do more? Now, here's a crisp, clear, and concise conversation with this girl who knows exactly what she's saying, knows exactly what she's doing, and she knows why she wants to do it, which is what was my takeaway from this conversation. So go check it out. Until the next one, stay connected. This is Karishma. I'll be back every month with one episode. We are becoming more mindful of the guests that we bring to you so that you get some amazing stories to listen into. Stay tuned. I'll be back. Tata. It's a pleasure to host you. Your story has inspired me, and I can't wait to share it with my listeners. Congratulations, firstly, for everything that you're doing. And secondly, thank you for coming on board for this podcast.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
Most welcome, dear. The first question I ask always to every guest is tell me about your journey so far because nobody is going to sum it up like you do. So go right in.
Yeah. So I started athletics when I was 5 years old. So it's been a long journey, more than a decade. Um, and yeah, because I just turned 18. So yeah, long journey. And I've won multiple national medals till date, represented India at the Asian Juniors and World Juniors last year. So the Asian Juniors happened in Dubai and the World Juniors were in Peru. It was a wonderful experience, and wearing the tricolor India at the back for the first time, a surreal experience and something that I always dreamt of right from when I started it. So yeah, that's about it, and it's not over yet. So yeah.
Absolutely. We're just getting started. But tell me, starting all of this at such a young age is, and that's the thing. I've interviewed somebody before who also started at a very young age, and she was an athlete as well. And it requires a lot of dedication, and it requires a lot of staying at it, and also kind of having almost blinders on because you're listening to so many things. You're being affected by peers. You have your friends, who are going out there and they are having all the fun, and here you are who needs to stick to practice. And tell me about that side of everything as well. What kind of prep has gone into your journey, and how much of your self sort of esteem have you had to build over the years?
So I feel being an athlete is like a completely different path if you compare it to other kids or other friends of mine, right? And I've known it right from the start. I mean, I never had my like parents tell me not to go for parties or something like that. I just learned it like, oh no, I think I have to stay back home or not eat unhealthy or junk food or something. And I've it's so that the thing is, it's not something that I've been told to, but I just learned it on my own. The other thing is I did have a lot of like challenges, like not going out, partying with friends. But again, same thing. I've gradually come to a very like mutual understanding that it's a long journey, and I think at the end of it, it'll all be worth it. So missing out on all this fun is fine now, but it's definitely a different path.
Yeah. And take me through that moment of wearing the Indian flag on yourself. What exactly? I know it's difficult to put into words, but what exactly does that feeling seem like?
So before the Indian flag going on my back, I think right from when I was a child, I first dreamt of wearing Maharashtra at the back because I think that's all I knew back when I was just like 5. That's when I started, right? It was under 6, and I thought that was like the biggest level that you could actually go to. And then I was like, oh wow, I want to represent my state at the nationals and everything. But once that happened, and that happened pretty quick. I mean, that happened in the first year of under 14, and I also won my first national medal there. And then from then on, it's been like competing at the nationals, wearing Maharashtra so many times, and then this came, and then like there were trials for the internationals, and I made it to the team. And then it was, then it's a different feeling. Then you can't even process, oh, this is something that you've just been dreaming. It felt like a dream, and now it's right there.
But with that kind of fame and with that kind of sort of immediate, you're immediately exposed to the headlines, you're immediately out there, you are known for what you're doing, and for all this while you've done it for yourself, you've done it for your passion, you've done it for all that. Now suddenly you have extra eyeballs surrounding you, you have the fame, and you have it at such a young age. How did you navigate that, and what did that feel like for you?
First of all, it's a different experience. Like right now, giving a podcast, and I've been giving many, and it's fun. It's fun talking about my journey. People are recognizing the efforts and everything that we athletes have put through. And the other thing is about navigating, or staying grounded. I feel, as I said, this last year was the first year that I actually wore the India jersey, like the India kit, for the first time. So it's just the beginning. So what how I look at it is that there's like so many more levels to climb to, so it's still like a long journey, and I've just started it, if I actually look at it. So there's still much more to go, and then that's why there's like a good reason to stay grounded. Like you've not achieved everything yet.
Tell me, when it comes to prioritizing life alongside your sport, how do you manage that? Because you've just turned 18, you have your entire education going on, all of that behind you as well. How do you navigate that then?
So, because of my training and everything, I really did not have time for any tuitions as of 11th standard, for that matter. And in 10th standard, so now you'd think that I'd not get time to study and all, but I still topped my school in 10th standard in ICSE. I got
Wow.
98%. Yeah, 98%.
Wow.
Yeah,
How
yeah,
did you?
yeah. And all that again without tuition. So I did everything on my own, and I still managed to top. And even in 12th standard, so 11th and 12th, I had taken science. I was in IC science, and I
What are
managed
you
to score.
saying? Oh my
Yeah,
God.
and I managed to score 90 plus. Again, that was very difficult because even during my 12th boards, I was running competitions even between the boards. Like, there are like there's a 5 days gap or a 3 days gap. And I think I flew to Lucknow for the international trials, and all that was happening. I came back, and 2 days later there was bio. So I managed everything pretty well, but it's not easy. I think managing both is very difficult, and I think by 12th it became very much visible that it's too much efforts putting on both sides. But on the other end, I think athletes, I feel, can manage both, because I do have friends who've managed it this way just like me. So yeah.
But what can you share from that circuit? Because you're functioning in a circuit where you are surrounded by other people as well who are kind of going through this journey and staying at it and navigating these kind of what what can you perhaps share for the younger athletes who are working towards probably reaching where you are today or envisioning that kind of a future? What can you share with them about how you have navigated all of this? What you share tips.
Yeah, so I think the first thing would be hard work. So you have to work hard. You'll not get anything just by sitting casually back at home like that. You can't rest. There is a lot of working hard. There's a lot of constant dedication towards anything you do. If you're pursuing sports, academics, anything. And my point at the end of the day is that both of these domains can be managed very well. Like, they can be complemented. It's not that you have to leave behind one thing, as I have proven like that. So I've set examples for my juniors. Even in training, they look up to me. They'll come and ask me questions, and then I'll tell them that it's all possible because everyone's going through their own struggles and challenges. but it's all very much possible if you stay at it, if you stay dedicated and determined. Like if you have a goal set in your mind, then that's what you will keep going.
And then coming to the topic of track and field, tell me what excites you about it and what's in it again for the incoming athlete generation. What's exciting about that?
Track and field itself is very exciting. I mean, the 100 meters is something that the world stops to watch. Like, it hardly takes what, 9 seconds, 10 seconds, but it's one of the most thrilling races. It's one of the most engaging races. Not just the 100, but all events now. Everything's got so challenging, even globally, like the competition's increased, the timings got faster, world records, everyone's beating it. And not just globally, even in India, we've started achieving milestones that we were not able to before. Yeah. So I think everything's changing. The entire sports system, I feel, is just evolving, and it's a great thing. It's a great thing.
And if I may ask, what's your relationship with the feeling of competition? How do you navigate that?
So the relationship with my competition actually comes from the training, the preparation that I've put, right? So if I know, so the thing is, you need to have trust, right? You need to have faith in your training and in your coaching and in your coach as well, for that matter. So you and your coach, so for me, it's Ravi sir. We have this connection, we have this relationship, we know what we want, and we will focus on that. If a competition's coming up, we will both sit together, prepare. So it's like a complete combined effort. And then once you know that you're prepared for something, if you're going into a competition 100% prepared, then there's no reason to fear because you know you will perform. So lots of it comes from having faith in what you're doing, like practice. Because training is like the 99% of the part, the entire journey, and the last part is just the 1% is going out there and performing.
And standing at that starting line, just about to, take off from that sort of starting point, what are some of the first few thoughts that usually, typically kind of float in your head?
So thoughts, as in there wouldn't be any external thoughts. They're all right there on track. Yeah. So what I think is I'll keep thinking about my reaction times, like how I'm going to react to the gun and the drive phase. So slowly and slowly. I think few minutes before the start, I would think of the entire race and how I'm going to execute it. But right when I'm at the start line, I'd be thinking only about the first phase of the race because I would want to execute that perfectly.
Now, when it comes to actually pursuing what you love doing, right, and in terms of sports as well, there have been several conversations about how the resources are lacking, how we need more sort of exposure, we need more genuine organizations. What do you have to say on that? What have you experienced? Has there been a change in the recent past? What kind of change can we look forward to, or should we sort of implement it? In terms of the growth of athletes, especially as you mentioned that there's a lot of competition coming in as well, which is true. I mean, the number of athletes I've heard about in the recent past, even through the podcast itself, has been so many of them and so many, members of the youth actually coming forward like yourself and thriving in that space. So, what do you have to say to that?
So the resources and infrastructure part has evolved a lot. I'd say it's changed to the needs and everything. So we got our first indoor track in Odisha. And so we are actually evolving with the infrastructure. I mean, there's still a lot more to do at the grassroots levels. So the tracks, let's say in Mumbai, the stadiums in Mumbai need to be renovated and looked and maintained even more religiously. Then that's like the resources part that still needs to be taken care of. But I feel we are still like at a much what do I say, in a bit, like we're still ahead of what we were few years back. And with the organization supporting, for me personally, I'm blessed to have Wellspun. So I'm part of the Wellspun Elite Female Program, and they've supported me like thoroughly. So like when athletes have a financial backing, this financial support, that makes a lot of difference, right? So then athletes don't have to worry about anything else, and then they just have to do what they are actually meant to do. Like they just have to train and compete and perform, and then they get to focus, right? Otherwise, there are other challenges that they have to face. But not just Wellspun. I've heard of other organizations. There's ONGC or many others, but that they are actually, putting in efforts to help athletes achieve and pursue what they want. So that's a great deal. And about our, like the Indian Federation also is investing a lot in coaches, in qualified coaches, in foreign coaches. There's so many of them that have, come here in Sai camps and everything, and they're helping athletes. There's a lot of research that's happening. There's a lot of improvement in that sector too. Like there's a lot of sports science involvement as well, which is great. And that's why, and actually, all that is reflecting in our performance at, let's say, Asian Championships, the recent ones, or even international meets and all. So we can see that we're getting there.
And what would you say sport and what you do has taught you about life at 18?
Oh, see, till now, I feel I have had lots of ups and downs in terms of injuries, because I think as a sprinter, they're just part of me at this point. The thing is, they shouldn't let you down. You as an athlete need to understand, or you as an athlete need to have the mental resilience to fight and to know that you'll get back on track and that you'll get back stronger. And I think that can, like, really, like, it's directly related. And if I can put it in my own life, that even in your life you'll have your ups and downs, but you just have to keep going. The bad times will go if you keep doing what you're doing very faithfully, so without, like, losing hope.
I'll ask you. And if it doesn't make sense, just feel free to let me know. But speed for all of us is very much, for a common man who's not into sports or not an athlete, speed is a very basic. There's a very basic understanding of speed, right? But for an athlete, it means several things. There goes a lot into sort of elevating that speed, making sure that you're coming first. At the same time, there's also this entire phenomena of slowing down where you need to, getting into the discipline of everything. How important do you think it is to slow down so that it can affect the speed that you catch up on at the tracks?
No, like, I can explain you the first part, like, what speed means to us and how it's different. For, let's say, if you ask any layman, like, what running 100 meters is like, they would just say it's running from point A to point B. Like, how simple, it's that simple. You just have to run in a straight line, it's very simple. But for us, there are more than 100 things to think about while running that, and that makes it the most challenging event. Like, it's right from when I'm on the blocks, as to how quickly to react to the gun, and how explosively to start, whether not to stumble on the first steps. You have to be very careful. You have to push, but not push too much. So it's everything in moderations, because you can't really put out like a 100% or a 110% out on the starts. I mean, you have to see, that's the thing. I am contradicting myself right here when I'm explaining that I am actually supposed to take a very explosive start, but not as explosive where I don't have anything at the end of the race. Let's say in a 200, if I start too fast, I would not have anything at the end of the race. So for 100, I have to think about my drive phase. As I'm running the drive phase, I also have to think about, oh, now I have to transition up, then I have to start moving my arms. Oh, I also have to focus on my breathing, oh, my hands, my legs, everything's coordinated. Okay, now. And while you're running, you also get to see other athletes in the peripheral vision, and they're like, oh, so there's so much to handle. You dip at the right time. So there's lots and lots and lots. And even to increase your speed, it's not that easy. To even cut microseconds, it becomes a challenging part, and we know it. We athletes, sprinters, actually, even swimmers, anyone. who sprints would tell you that cutting microseconds becomes such a challenging part. Like, it'll take years to cut that microseconds at milliseconds. So spending lots of time in the gym room, doing the right exercises will get you faster. So that's the first part of the question.
What do you consider to be your biggest achievement to date?
I think that would be winning my gold in the 100 meters at the Khelo India Youth Games, because that was, yeah, my first AFI nationals and individual gold that I won. So that was a good, like a different feeling, and I think the best achievement so far.
Is there a particular, after you won, is there something someone close to you or someone generally told you which made you feel like, wow, this has happened and this is something that, is there an advice or is there like a piece of memory that you hold close from that moment?
I think I remember looking in the stands and my parents were standing there and they were just waving at each other, then waving at me, giving high fives and all. I think that was a special moment. Yeah.
Tell me about your biggest dream and goal. You've already told me about your achievement. You've taken me through your journey. You've taken me through what goes on track and behind the scenes. To wrap it all up, tell me what is your sort of biggest goal that you look forward to achieving?
That I started that I wore my India jersey for the first time, I would want to wear it more often now. I would want to get used to it now. So starting by competing more at the internationals, and then eventually, obviously, standing on the podium and then listening to the national anthem is a dream.
More power to you, Sia. Thank you so much for joining me. It's
Thank you.
been
Thank
truly
you.
insightful. Thank you once again.